confirmed number of new coronavirus cases reported in Los Angeles County over the last 24 hours is 21,790, with 24 additional deaths. Here in Torrance, 206 additional cases were reported with no new deaths. Welcome to COVID-19 Today. I'm Jen Chun, filling in for Rhiannon Trutanich. It's Tuesday, January 4th. The Omicron variant is now making up more than 95% of new COVID-19 cases here in the U.S. According to the latest data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the new variant skyrocketed to become the dominant strain of the coronavirus, infecting Americans across the country in less than a month. Omicron cases rose from 8% of all COVID-19 cases in the week ending on December 11th to nearly 38% on December 18th, 77% on December 25th, and most recently to 95.4% in the week ending on January 1st. The Delta variant makes up almost all of the rest of the COVID-19 cases. Regionally, the Omicron variant is dominant across the states, especially here in California. The state's public health department reports that there are more than 5.4 million confirmed COVID-19 cases to date and nearly 76,000 deaths since the start of the pandemic. The White House announced today that it will double the order of the Pfizer treatment pill from 10 to 20 million doses. The first million are expected to be delivered by June and the rest by the end of September. The Biden administration says the treatment has been shown to dramatically decrease hospitalizations and death from COVID-19. Well, the number of kids getting hospitalized from COVID-19 is going up dramatically here in LA County. Pediatric hospitalizations skyrocketed 190% between December 4th and the 25th. The age group seeing the biggest spike is infants to 4-year-olds. That demographic had a 3.25-fold increase in the rise in rates, followed by 12 to 17-year-olds with a 3-fold increase. The pediatric cases and hospitalizations are rising as children return to class, and LA County public health officials are urging parents to take proper precautions to protect those kids and those around them. This week, the county's public health department and the Office of Education are working together to distribute at-home test kits provided by the state. These are for the county's 1.4 million school-aged children. The LA County Home Test Collection Program is also offering free at-home COVID nasal swab test kits via mail to all LA County residents who have experienced COVID-19 symptoms or believe they may have been exposed. They can be requested at covid19.lacounty.gov/hometest. Well, parents with children who are too young to get vaccinated may be wondering how they can best protect them. Well, CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says the best thing to do is to surround them with adults and siblings who are vaccinated and boosted if eligible. She also encourages them to take COVID-19 home tests before gathering and recommends that anyone who is not vaccinated, including children ages 2 and older, wear masks indoors in public. Children younger than 2 or those who cannot wear a mask for other reasons should limit visits with unvaccinated individuals and keep a distance from others in public places. Experts say it might be a good idea to have everyone masked at family gatherings if unvaccinated children are there, since there is still a chance that vaccinated adults can spread the virus. They also suggest limiting gatherings to 10 people or less. In the U.S., children ages 5 to 11 can get kid-sized doses of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. The company is also testing an even smaller dose for babies and preschoolers. Well, there's some good news and bad news when it comes to those COVID-19 testing kits for California students. The good news is that more tests are on the way. The governor's office tweeted this video this morning saying more at-home test kits arrived last night at their warehouse and will immediately be sent to counties for distribution. Now, the bad news, these deliveries did not come in time for the many schools that resumed in-person classes yesterday. The state's public health department says the recent winter storms led to the shipping delays. Only about half of the 6 million tests promised by the state were delivered as of this morning, leading to long lines of people waiting for hours to get tested in person. The new shipment should have about 1.5 million tests that will eventually make its way to the students. The Torrance Unified School District did welcome back their students on Monday, and while a negative test was not required, families and staff were encouraged to get tested prior to returning to ensure they are COVID-free. TUSD has been able to offer free COVID testing for its students and staff members. Testing is available Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. at the Performing Arts Center auditorium at each of the 4 high schools. A parent consent form can be found at tusd.org/parents. Now, federal officials shortened the number of days healthcare workers need to isolate when infected with COVID-19. The CDC released new guidance last week saying healthcare workers can return to work after 7 days instead of 10 if they test negative and do not have symptoms. Isolation time can be cut even shorter to 5 days or even fewer if there are severe staffing shortages. Now, CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says, quote, as the healthcare community prepares for an anticipated surge in patients due to Omicron, CDC is updating recommendations to reflect what we know about infection and exposure in the context of vaccination and booster doses. Our goal is to keep healthcare personnel and patients safe and to address and prevent undue burden on our healthcare facilities. According to the CDC, if a person develops symptoms sometime after a positive COVID-19 test, the quarantine period must restart beginning 1 day after the symptoms develop. Well, Starbucks announced it will require its U.S. workforce to be vaccinated against COVID-19. In keeping with federal mandates, Starbucks COO John Culver announced to roughly 220,000 employees that they must disclose vaccination status by January 10th and be fully vaccinated by February 9th. Company officials say they haven't had to close its cafes due to the Omicron outbreak, unlike the first half of 2020, when the pandemic forced the coffee chain to temporarily shut at least half of its U.S. stores and convert the remaining locations to drive-through and carry-out. Under Starbucks' new policy, employees who opt out of getting the vaccine will have to purchase their own OSHA-approved tests and submit results weekly. Well, U.S. has paused distribution of a couple of COVID-19 antibody treatments after they proved unlikely to be effective against the Omicron variant. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration and the Office of Secretary for Preparedness and Response issued a joint statement saying they're halting the allocation of antibody treatments from Regeneron Pharmaceuticals and Eli Lilly until new data emerges on their efficacy. German researchers also found that the treatments lose most of their effectiveness when exposed to Omicron in laboratory tests. Meanwhile, the U.S. agencies noted that a rival drug called Sotrovimab appears to work against the new variant and resumed shipments after they were paused last month, pending efficacy data. The agencies say delivery of 55,000 doses have begun. Well, the U.S. lifted its temporary travel ban on 8 African countries beginning the new year. Last month, the Biden administration announced the travel restrictions in an effort to slow the spread of the Omicron variant, which was the first detected in South Africa. White House officials say the CDC recommended lifting the travel restrictions, saying during that time the U.S. was able to better understand the new variant and confirm that existing vaccines work against it, especially if people receive a booster shot. The CDC currently recommends Pfizer and Moderna's 2-shot mRNA vaccines over the single Johnson & Johnson vaccine due to blood clotting issues associated with it. Boosters for all 3 vaccines have been approved by the FDA. Well, with the new year comes many new laws. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed 770 new laws in 2021, with many going into effect this month. From requirements to sort through compostable waste to later school start times for teens to minimum wage bumps. The California Highway Patrol also wants drivers to become familiar with some current and future changes. Assembly Bill 3 is called Sideshow Definition and Penalties. A sideshow is defined as an event where two or more people block or impede traffic on a highway for the purpose of performing motor vehicle stunts, speed contests, or other types of reckless driving. The new legislation states that stricter punishments will kick in on July 1st, 2025, and when it does, a conviction could lead to license suspension for 90 days up to 6 months. Assembly Bill 974 is called the Equestrian Safety Gear and requires everyone under the age of 17 to wear a helmet when riding a horse, a mule, or a donkey on a paved highway. And riders of all ages will need to wear reflective gear when out after dark. Violators can face a fine of up to $25. And Assembly Bill 798, called Tribal Emergency Vehicles, removes restrictions on ambulances owned and operated by a fire department of one of the more than 100 federally recognized Native American tribes in the state that had essentially been treated the same as privately operated ones. Also, a vehicle owned or operated by a federally recognized tribe would be considered an authorized emergency vehicle when responding to emergency calls. Now, you can read all of the new laws passed online at gov.ca.gov. Well, West Hollywood now has the highest paid minimum wage workers in the U.S. The city's new minimum wage law took effect on January 1st and boosted pay for hourly employees at many businesses, including hotels, where workers are now paid a starting wage of $17.64 per hour. The city's large businesses with 50 or more employees are also upping pay, starting at $15.50. At smaller businesses, workers start at $15 an hour. Wages will go up again on July 1st, with employees at large businesses getting $16.50 an hour and at small businesses getting $16 an hour. West Hollywood City Council member Lindsay Horvath says they unanimously passed this ordinance because they believe that an economic recovery must include everyone and that good wages are an essential part of helping people recover from the economic impact of COVID-19. While many workers praise the increase, some business owners say they are concerned that the new wage would harm those still struggling because of the pandemic. Well, Southern California is now mostly out of extreme drought conditions thanks to the series of storms last month. LA, Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino, and Ventura counties all saw significant improvements in December. Nearly all of LA and Ventura counties are now upgraded to the less severe serious drought category. San Bernardino County is mostly in the serious category as well, with the southwestern corner experiencing moderate drought. All of Orange County is in the moderate category, as well as Riverside County for the most part. Federal data shows major improvements happened in a span of just a week. At the end of December, the percentage of the state that was in the most serious exceptional drought condition fell from 23 to less than 1%. And those in the extreme category dropped from nearly 80% to just under 34%. The National Weather Service says California got more rain in the first 3 months of the state's water year than all of the 2020 to 2021 period. The last water year ranked among the driest in state history. Well, the Powerball jackpot is growing again after no one claimed the top prize last night. The new estimated jackpot is $610 million, making it the 9th largest jackpot in the game's history. It's been almost 3 months since anyone hit the Powerball jackpot, and that happened right here in California. The next drawing takes place tomorrow at 7:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Well, the Benstead Plunge announced several of its lap swimming sessions will be closed this week due to staffing issues. Morning lap swim is canceled through Friday, with midday lap canceled today and tomorrow. Programs will get reactivated as soon as they are able to properly staff the pool. The facility is expected to be at normal operations again next week. Well, before we go, at the end of each program, we like to share feel-good stories from our community. Pictures, images, and videos that remind us of how resilient our community is and how Torrance truly cares. Well, January is National Blood Donor Month, and it can't come at a better time. Hospitals are in short supply of donations, especially after the holidays, and could use the community's help. This is one of the most difficult times of the year to maintain sufficient blood supply for patients. The American Red Cross says they're experiencing the worst blood shortage in over a decade. Now, there are a few locations in Torrance where community members can donate. Just go to redcrossblood.org and enter your zip code to find the closest location to you. Torrance Memorial also is in critical need of blood donations. You can call them at 310-517-4647 to make an appointment and give the gift of life. Now, if you have a great story, an upcoming event, a photo or a video you'd like to share, email us at covid19today@torranceca.gov. We'd love to hear from you. Well, that's our update for COVID-19 today. We'll be right back here tomorrow as Christine Lee brings you the latest. Be safe, stay healthy, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.